Hello?
There's always something out there.
What?
My living room. There's always something out there. Some weird-ass freak, some bizarre scenario that ties into the movie I'm reviewing, and I just can't do it today!
Hang on. Let me bring Malcolm in on the call.
I'm already here.
Ah!
Gee, Malcolm, how'd you get in on the call?
I'm always listening.
Anyway, I can't do it. Not with today's movie.
Well, what's so special about today's movie?
It's Logan.
Oh man, do you have it easy?
Yeah, everybody loves Logan. This'll be a walk in the park.
It's not that simple.
Everything's simple.
I don't think that's true.
Just talk about how great it is like everybody does.
There's more to it than that. I don't want to get people angry.
People need to grow up. I mean, what could you say about it that's so crazy?
Well, I did think it was good.
There, see? You thought it was great.
No, not great. Good. Malcolm? There, you see what I'm talking about, Heather? Heather? Malcolm, I don't suppose you can talk to her. Malcolm?
I'm a Charles Xavier archetype, and I have some things to say about this movie. Hey, what are you doing? It has wheels, you dumbass.
Oh, pretty. We know that you're in here. Ow!
You okay?
Let me check. Yeah. Ow!
Ah, miss! Okay! You got me. Ow.
So what's that wrong about Logan? In 2017, Hugh Jackman gave his final performance as Wolverine-ish with James Mangold's Logan. It made a boatload at the box office, and I liked it, but I don't think I got into it as much as everyone else. I kind of wondered if people became so obsessed because it did so many things people wanted to see an X-Men movie do, specifically in a Wolverine movie. It was dark, it was gritty, it was the first non-comedy X-Men flick with an R rating. They dropped the F-bomb everywhere, it was bloody as hell. It was an undisputably badass X-Men movie that was well put together and stuck the landing for a character that, by that point, an entire generation would have grown up with. So, why wasn't I blown away by it? Well, there are several things that have changed since the last time I saw this in theaters over 7 years ago. One is, despite the tone being so badass, it was jarringly different, and I was holding out hope that some sort of consistent continuity would take shape in the X-Men movies, which I now know will never happen. Second, I didn't know much about the character X-23, but I do now. Third, I hadn't read the graphic novel it was based on, Old Man Logan, and I still haven't, but let's just judge it on its own. And fourth, maybe this is just a me thing, but I had a hard time following the story because too many people grittily mumble their lines, so I missed a lot of plot details.
That's wrong with our water.
Waiting flakes are.
They're just not gonna let us go.
Cholos and a pull-out on people.
They don't. Drink it.
It's almost 100 years old.
Chucking their cloned up supercorn.
Any different?
What are you saying?
As I've mentioned before, though, I can certainly misread a film's intent if I don't have all the info. Like Spider-Man No Way Home isn't gonna make a whole lot of sense if you haven't seen the other MCU or Spider-Man movies. Like, yeah, you can technically follow it, but it isn't gonna be anywhere near as great if you don't have the proper context. So, I want to go back and give this film another shot and see if I understand more why people not only liked it, but absolutely loved it. So, as long as some of those passionate fans don't try to destroy me.
Which way's the back door?
This way. The other way.
Commercials!
Let's take a look at Logan. The film opens with a reminder why you don't say what year your future takes place in. As the series establishes, it takes place in the not-too-distant future. And this is the not-too-distant future of that not-too-distant future, which equals out to...
It's 2029.
Which, yeah, okay, kinda works now, but... Math, man, this is gonna be dated pretty quick! You know what am I talking about? These movies do have the continuity of comic books! The film also makes it clear this is not your previous X-Men movies, with it being a lot more violent, a lot more gory, and Logan, played again by Hugh Jackman, dropping the F-bomb in almost every sentence he has for the first 10 minutes.
I don't know any Gabriel, so get the fuck.
Someone has a severe caca mouth. Do you know that?
At first I thought this was a little weird, like it was trying to show off its R rating, but it's not like he hasn't sliced up people or swore before. And I think it shows his world has been even more damaged than it has in the past, which, given his past, is really saying something.
Hey, it's me. I'm in the car.
Logan now drives a limo for a driver app service, in a world where mutants have been mostly wiped out by genetically modified food products made by a scientist named Rice, meaning mutants who consumed it can no longer reproduce. A bit more subtle than giant purple robots. Logan's approached by a man named Pierce, played by Boyd Holbrook, who says a lady named Gabriella might be approaching him and to call him if she does.
You know, you got some buckshot in your door. I know what you're hiding, amigo. The old cue ball south of the border.
Who is your dialect coach? The Minions?
What do you want? A little cooperation. I'm a fan, by the way.
You'll always be my Gaston. He looks after Professor Xavier, played again by Patrick Stewart, who has some form of Alzheimer's, which Logan tries to keep under control with medicine.
The new quesalupa from Taco Bell. Get it with chicken. Get it with steak.
This is how every old YouTuber who's done a million sponsorships is gonna talk in the future. He has help from a mutant named Caliban, played by Stephen Merchant, who tries to keep him hidden, seeing how years ago one of his seizures wiped out not only a ton of people, but also his X-Men.
Well, I almost died this morning. That seizure
barely a minute.
It felt a lot longer than a minute. I couldn't breathe. You're less affected.
Again, a little weird. A few films before, they tried so hard to set everything right. Bring back the X-Men, save the future, that crazy Ratner killing him off, that's all done. Only to show it was for nothing and they die anyway? Hell, even in that series, they killed off a bunch of them off screen and nobody cared. In Last Stand, they at least got a goodbye. It was a shitty goodbye, but they weren't given the Maitland treatment from Beetlejuice 2. I don't know, it's just so hard to imagine this and this are the same universe. But like I said, consistency has always been a big problem with these films already, so might as well go mean and dark. And from a writing standpoint, I guess I don't really see a way around it. Logan needs to be one of the last mutants. He needs to be taking care of Xavier, and these films are famously overstuffed with characters fighting for screen time. It does make sense to focus more on just a few people and a bleak, aggressive future. That was also established in the comic. Does make the most sense to explain these characters' absences. And I know I'm not the only one to say this, but while everybody's acting is great, man, Patrick Stewart should have gotten an Oscar nod for this.
For your own good.
No, it's not. You're waiting for me to die.
It's a totally different version of Xavier that goes through a bunch of different mental states, but everyone feels real. This could have been an easy excuse to overact or go too sappy, but he surprisingly finds the believability and tragedy of this character.
This is what life looks like. A home, people who love each other. You still have time.
This so quickly could have become annoying, but the crankier moments are funny, the sympathetic moments are heartbreaking, and all of it you buy.
I know I said June, but I need the boat now.
Logan tries to save up to get a ship so all of them can sail away, but Caliban's powers make him allergic to the sun.
I hardly see myself cowering below decks like Nosferatu, making him spotted dick.
How'd you know it's the name of the game Xavier and Magneto used to play when they were alone?
Found this in your pocket. Adamantium.
He even has an adamantium bullet as he's aware his mutant powers are fading with age and he's starting to die. So he may want to end things after Charles is safe. No, you fool, that'll just make you forget the events of X-Men Origins. Actually, can I borrow that?
I'm in trouble. You're the only one that could help.
Gabriella does end up approaching him, played by Elizabeth Rodriguez, as she's apparently on the run with her daughter, Laura, played by Daphne Keane.
There are men after us. Cross to Canada.
Anyone can do that job.
I'll give you $50,000.
I'm the only one who can do that job.
I got away from them, but now they know my car. Take us to this address.
I can't go back to prison. I mean, season 2 was good, but they keep acting like prison is high school. It's not! It's prison! He eventually agrees, but it's too late as somebody has gotten to her and killed her. He makes his way back and finds that someone stowed away in his car.
Logan! Who does this belong to?
You kidnapped Dora the Explorer? Xavier says he's been communicating with her telepathically and that she's very important, but they'll have to talk about it later as more men arrive. Laura, though, doesn't take this sitting down. Well, she does for a bit. She has to finish her cereal. I mean, that's kid law.
All right. No.
It was pretty smart working X-23 into this. Now that I know more about the character, I realize this is the equivalent of working Harley Quinn into the DC movies. It shows the legitimacy of animated shows originally seen as just for kids having a lot more for adults than any would assume. And makes it clear they shouldn't be underestimated. I also love watching this thinking there's no way they can get through that, and sure enough, there's no way they can get through that. They do end up getting away, and Logan wants answers about what's going on.
Who the hell are you?
Does she remind you of anybody?
Lucas Haas from Mars Attacks. It's revealed she was part of a group of mutant kids trained to become weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, the actor who clearly had the most fun shooting his scene. Laura, also known as X-23, is a clone of Wolverine, and to this actress's credit, that is very easy to believe.
Last ride.
That was literally his contract for doing this movie.
They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
Gabriella said there's a place called Eden up north that's supposed to be safe for mutants, so he tries to take her there. He finds out, however, she probably got the idea from, get this, an X-Men comic.
You read these in your spare time? Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Okay, on the surface, this can sound really dumb like the Double Dragon arcade game in Double Dragon. But if mutants are practically extinct and even a fraction of the stuff in the other movies happened, I would totally buy there be a comic series about this. Maybe even a cartoon where they represent Hugh Jackman properly by making him Australian.
Get with it! The X-Men don't have room for whiny brats!
As Pierce's men close in on them, Charles has another panic attack, freezing everyone in place and slowly killing them. Logan is the only one who can barely work past it, and as cool as the action sequences are in this movie, this one's my favorite. It's a creative idea, it's surprisingly intense and gory, and it so easily could have been done wrong. Imagine if they didn't utilize these filters or this sound. It would look like Raul Duke and his attorney trying to walk. But the acting and very clever directing makes this one of the cooler moments. That must have been fun to do a few takes of. They escape again, and we get some actually kind of interesting information on why Laura has claws on her feet.
Pride of lions, the female is both hunter and caregiver.
Yes, lionesses makes perfect sense for a Wolverine.
Uses her front claws for hunting and the back claws defensively.
Oh yeah?
This concludes the Werner Herzog documentary studying the Wolverine. I will now return to facing backlash for not liking the Barbie movie. Seriously, get laid.
A truck carrying horses crashes and our heroes help them out, resulting in them offering a place to stay for the night.
Where you all headed?
South Dakota.
South Oregon.
Been trying to get Will here to take a vacation for years.
And live off what?
The Lord will provide.
Terminator-style clones to kill us all. You really should have done those vacays, buddy.
I'm still waiting for the Lord to provide me with a new thresher.
Well, all the same, I'd love to travel someday.
They do a good job making this family feel very likable, but also very believable. In fact, it's funny listening to this conversation sound so real when you know they're talking about Fisher net ray beams and moving stadiums.
You're speaking to a man who ran a school for a lot of years, right, Charles?
Kind of special needs school.
Yes, we know. We had TV and phones for years. Your school and all the threats made to the world made news several times. How has nobody recognized them?
We have a perfectly fine room upstairs.
It's very, very nice of you, but we
Logan,
really should go.
We can leave early in the morning, break of dawn.
Why do I get the feeling the entire message of this movie is don't wait, just move? Logan helps him turn the water pump back on as it's turned off by people who have some sort of B- plot nobody cares about. But Dr. Rice is brought onto the team and he brings his life-size clone of Wolverine, this time named X-24. And just as Charles remembers, oops, he Thanos'd his students.
This is not the first time I've heard people kept on running away from it.
If I knew this was coming, I would run too. X-24 kills Charles and carries Laura like a suitcase. But Logan is there to save her despite the family getting killed off.
Meet him halfway.
No. Let them come to us. You can't nurture rage. You simply design it from scratch.
Okay, so for a while, I really hated this stupid Wolverine clone. There's so many Wolverine enemies you could have brought in. Hell, bring back or clone one of the actors who played Sabretooth, that would have been sweet. But instead, we get this dull, dumb, boringly psychotic animal version of it. And kind of out of nowhere, like, yeah, we see a little footage earlier, but you blink and you miss it. It's not good build-up. Like, it's a cool effect, but what, you just needed to justify why there's two Wolverines in Marvel vs. Capcom? It feels underwhelming. But then I got to a certain point that kind of changed my mind. I'll get to that in a bit. But for now, Logan escapes with Laura thanks to Caliban blowing himself up.
Beware the light.
Right? I never lose weight on those things. Wah! And he buries one of the few remaining people who saw good in him.
It's got water. It's got water.
On the plus side, the cost of that boat I was saving up for to put on that water will be a lot cheaper. He passes out and Laura gets him to a doctor to help fix him up as his healing powers are getting worse. Oh, also, she talks now! Again, I found this a weird choice because we got so used to her communicating one way through silence and then out of nowhere in the last third she can suddenly speak. It's not that big a deal, but why not let her speak before so we could understand more about her? I didn't see the point of it. But here's where it weirdly connects back to X-24, and I don't know if this was intentional or not. I think Logan sees in both these clones what he could be. He's called Wolverine for a reason. He started out similar to an animal and had a strong connection with them. Hell, he even has a strong sense of smell. If he didn't encounter Xavier in his school, he may have gone that direction in the long run, given how long he's been around. With Laura now speaking, it could show she's becoming less animalistic and more human the more she makes a connection with him. So funny enough, both these factors I originally didn't like end up complementing each other and give Logan a reason to still help her despite him wanting to leave her behind. He's not only fighting the beast he could have become, he's helping the hopeful do-gooder he still could be.
Stop.
Fine. He agrees to take her to eat him, but he passes out when he arrives. It looks like her other friends from the lab are there, though, and they make themselves a temporary sanctuary. They even have a decent barber department.
Not funny. That is not funny.
That's the closest we're getting to a yellow cow moment in this movie. They talk about crossing the border to a safe haven, but Pierce's men, of course, end up finding them.
This looks like a job for... Oh god, give me a minute.
He takes some green stuff, though, the kid stole from the lab that gives him more energy. He meets up with X-24, though, and they all have a big fight. This is where you kind of go, yeah, why couldn't these kids protect themselves again? X-24 stabs the hell out of Logan, though. Now I'm gonna stop you from making Australia twice! But Laura uses the adamantium bullet to kill him off.
Stop my back! Still my back! You suck at this!
Logan technically dies in his arms, and not only is the acting from both our leads great, but as I'm sure a lot of people point out from the last Wolverine movie, directed by the same person, he was told he would die holding his own heart in his hand.
I see you on your back. You're holding your own heart in your hand.
It could be symbolic, though. Like, maybe a clone version of you that represents the heart of who you are.
Stop beating.
Oh, that part's a little tricky to explain. I don't know, just imagine Star Wars, then everyone will say it's not a big deal or it ruins everything.
Oh, this is what it feels like.
I like, too, he's almost happy it's finally happening. Like, he's seen so many pass away, and now that he's going through it, he's like, huh, it is just like DMT.
A man has to be what he is, Joey. Can't break them all.
The kids bury him, and Laura recites the lines from the Western she was watching in the hotel earlier. Really good memory, by the way. That was like 9 sentences.
There are no more guns in the valley.
She also tilts the cross to form an X. Nah, you didn't need to do that. The X's in his eyes were symbolic enough. A stereo with Bye 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 ready to play will be placed nearby in his honor. And that was Logan, and yeah, it is better than I remember it. I'll admit I rarely got emotionally invested in the X-Men movies, so I kinda got a selfish mindset of judging them by how cool the mutants were and how many of them popped up. Now even with that mindset, I knew this was a good film, but I think I did need a second viewing to understand why it has so much love. It has a lot of tropes you've seen before, like the grouchy old hero who hates the world and a big person escorting a little person, but not only am I still a sucker for both of these tropes, despite them being overused, but they're also done just as well as the best movies that have used them in the past. Like I said too, I think I had trouble following certain details the first time due to some of the mumbling and audio mixing, and the tone compared to the other films did take a little getting used to, but I definitely see it more now. Because the movies are so uneven, you're not gonna get something that's absolutely perfect, but this one is pretty damn close. The acting is great, the atmosphere is strong, the action is cool. It is the first time we saw a serious X-Men movie go hard R. And it's a legit good farewell to a big screen version of a character many of us connected strongly to. Despite me missing the first time what made it so great, I can see more now why it's worth all the attention. In fact, I better call my coworkers and let them know my new thoughts on the movie. Heather?
Yeah?
Malcolm?
Always listening.
I get now why Logan is so great. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend it's like one of my favorite films or anything, but I do understand now.
Well, that's good to know.
So, you can lay off trying to blow up my house.
Oh, we weren't blowing you up over that.
No?
Dude, that'd be silly.
We're blowing you up because your review of Joker 2 came out at the same time.
Well, I didn't like it.
But you didn't despise it.
That's fair.
The new Echémosle from Taco Bell.